There are stories the world whispers about for years before anyone with real knowledge finally speaks. And when that person does speak, it does not feel like relief. It feels like a door being kicked open that was never meant to be touched. That is exactly what happened when the truth about Abby and Brittany Hensel, America's most recognized conjoined twins, finally came out into the open. For years, rumors had swirled across every corner of the internet about whether one of the twins had quietly gotten married. Most people dismissed it as fantasy. Others treated it as gossip. But their mother, Patty Hensel, the woman who had protected them from the world's cruelest curiosity since the day they were born, eventually confirmed what millions had speculated. And the moment she did, everything changed. To understand why this revelation hit the way it did, you have to go back to the beginning. On March 7th, 1990, in New Germany, Minnesota, Patty Hensel went to the hospital expecting to deliver one baby. Her ultrasound had shown only a single fetus, and neither she nor her husband Mike had any reason to believe otherwise. But the moment of delivery brought a shock that no scan had prepared them for. Patty gave birth to conjoined twins, 2 girls, 2 heads, 2 spines, 2 hearts, 2 personalities, all sharing one body from the torso down. The doctors were honest with the family from the start. Abby and Brittany were dicephalic parapagus twins, one of the rarest forms of conjoined twinning in medical history. Twins born in this condition are, in the vast majority of cases, either stillborn or do not survive beyond infancy. The fact that both girls were alive, alert, and healthy was, by any medical standard, extraordinary. Separation surgery was discussed, but Patty and Mike quickly understood what it would cost. The odds of both girls surviving such a procedure were slim, and so they made a decision rooted entirely in love. They would not separate their daughters. They would simply raise them, and raise them they did, with a fierce determination to give Abby and Brittany a childhood that felt as close to ordinary as possible. From the very beginning, Patty and Mike insisted on treating the twins as 2 separate people, because that is precisely what they were. They gave the girls different outfits. They encouraged different interests. They celebrated different personalities. Abby grew into someone who loved bright colors, sparkle, and bold choices. Brittany found her comfort in more relaxed styles and quiet confidence. 2 people, 1 body, a bond the world had no real language for. Of course, the world did not let the family simply live in peace. From the age of 6, when Abby and Brittany appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1996 and later graced the cover of Life magazine, the public I never fully looked away. Documentaries followed. Cameras followed. Questions followed, some born from genuine wonder, others from something far less kind. Patty and Mike built walls around their daughters wherever they could. They refused to allow unnecessary medical testing. They pushed back against producers, journalists, and strangers who believed the twins owed the world an explanation for their own existence. In a 2006 documentary called Joined for Life, Abby and Brittany turned 16, Patty addressed this culture of entitlement with memorable bluntness. When a television producer told her that she owed the world more information about her daughters, Patty's response was immediate. "I don't owe the world nothing," she said. And Abby and Brittany don't owe the world anything either. Sometime in the years that followed, Abby met a man named Josh Bowling, a United States Army veteran who had gone on to become a nurse. What drew them together, only they know. What the world does know is this. On November 13th, 2021, Abby Hensel and Josh Bowling were married in a private ceremony. Brittany stood beside her sister, as she always had and always would. Josh's daughter, Isabella, from his previous marriage, was present too. It was, by all accounts, a small and intentional moment of joy, one the family had no desire to share with the public. And for nearly 3 years, they succeeded. The marriage remained hidden. Public records existed, but no one had gone looking. Life continued quietly in New Brighton. The twins taught their students. Josh worked. Isabella moved between 2 households. A family was being built in private, exactly the way Abby and Brittany had always insisted their lives should be lived. Then, in early 2024, Josh posted something on social media, a photo that, once seen, could not be unseen. He and Abby were smiling. Brittany was there, as she always is. The comments filled instantly. People began digging through public records. Within days, the confirmation came from those very records. Abby Hensel had been a married woman since November 2021, and the world was only now finding out. The reaction was immediate, overwhelming, and for the twins, deeply unwelcome. Social media exploded with questions that had no business being asked. People debated the intimate logistics of their relationship with a casualness that would have been offensive if directed at anyone else. Some responses were warm and congratulatory. Many were not. The public had always treated Abby and Brittany as curiosities first and human beings second, and this moment proved nothing had changed. The twins responded briefly and collectively, acknowledging the chaos with characteristic directness. In a now widely shared message, they wrote that the internet was extra loud today and reminded anyone listening, "We have always been around. We are totally different people." It was not an explanation. It was a boundary, the same boundary they had drawn their entire lives. But even as they tried to control the narrative, more complications surfaced. In October 2023, though it only became widely known later, Josh had been named. In a paternity lawsuit filed by his ex-wife, Anika Bowling, concerning her youngest child, who was born in 2020. Josh had been listed as a potential father alongside another man named Gavin Vatnsdal. The case dragged through Minnesota courts. In March 2024, genetic testing cleared Josh completely. The child was confirmed to be Vatnsdal's. But the lawsuit had been public record, and once the media spotlight turned toward Josh Bowling, everything attached to his name was scrutinized. Through all of this, there was one voice the world kept returning to. Patty Hensel, the mother who had guarded her daughters for 34 years. The woman who had once stood in front of a television producer and said her daughters owed nobody anything. As the news of the marriage spread and questions mounted, Patty found herself caught between her public past and her daughter's intensely private present. She had appeared in documentaries. She had spoken openly about their childhood in the 1996 Oprah appearance, in the 2003 documentary Joined for Life, and again in the 2007 documentary Extraordinary People, the twins who share a body. In those earlier years, she had even spoken hopefully about the twins' future, including the possibility of motherhood. That is probably something that could work because those organs do work for them, Patty had said in 2003. At 16, Brittany herself had said confidently, "Yeah, we're going to be moms." But years had passed since those documentaries. The twins had grown into adults who had deliberately stepped away from the cameras after their TLC show ended in 2012. They had built new lives, new boundaries, and new rules for what was theirs to share. The women who once allowed documentary crews into their home were now women who made their social media accounts private and taught elementary school in a suburb of Minneapolis. When the 2024 storm broke, Patty confirmed what the records had already shown. The marriage was real. Abby and Josh were husband and wife. She did not do so with fanfare. She did not seek the spotlight, but she spoke. And to Abby and Brittany, that was the fracture point. They had not asked for this confirmation. They had not authorized it. And the fact that it came from the one person who had always promised to be the wall between them and the world made it cut all the deeper. People on the outside saw a mother simply telling the truth. But inside the family, it felt like something else entirely, a private boundary crossed by someone who had spent a lifetime defending those very same boundaries. The emotional distance that followed was quiet, painful, and entirely invisible to the public that had caused it. In the months that followed, the twins continued teaching. They continued living. Josh remained steady at their side, a man who had entered their world with open eyes and stayed. His daughter Isabella remained part of their blended family. In 2024, the twins themselves briefly appeared on TikTok, dancing at their wedding to Adele's Rolling in the Deep, a small, joyful glimpse into a moment they had chosen to finally share on their own terms, in their own time. The caption on another post read simply, "We know you think you know us." That line says more than most interviews could. The world has watched Abby and Brittany since they were 6 years old. It has filmed them, documented them, debated them, and at times reduced them to a medical curiosity rather than two human beings living a full and complicated life. And yet, for all of that watching, the world has consistently gotten it wrong. It missed the marriage for 3 years. It missed the depth of their bond with each other, with Josh, with the students they've shaped. It missed the love inside a family that never asked to be a headline. As for the relationship with their mother, time has a way of working on fractures. Patty Hensel spent decades fighting for her daughters with everything she had. One difficult moment does not erase that history, but it does complicate it. And in a family that has always operated with extraordinary precision around the question of privacy, even small complications carry real weight. The story of Abby and Brittany Hensel is not really a story about a wedding, or a rumor, or a mother's admission. It is a story about what it costs two human beings to live their entire lives in a world that has decided it owns them. From the delivery room in 1990 to a TikTok video in 2024, Abby and Brittany have spent every year of their lives navigating a gap between who the world believes they are and who they actually are. They are teachers, sisters, a wife, a stepmother, a step-aunt. They are private people with a public history they never fully chose. They are two individuals who move through life sharing one body and have built, against considerable odds, something genuinely good. The confirmation of their marriage was not the story. The story was always this: two women who spent their lives earning the right to define their own happiness in a world that still, after all this time, could not quite let them have it without demanding a front-row seat. They continue to move forward, shoulder to shoulder, as they always have. And whatever comes next belongs to them, not to us. If this story resonated with you, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And subscribe for more stories about the real lives behind the headlines the world rarely takes time to understand.